During World War II, American infantry relied on compact automatic weapons, evolving rapidly to meet brutal close-quarters combat demands. We began with pre-war and early war foundations. Thompson M1921. Thompson M1921, nicknamed the Tommy gun, was an early U.S. submachine gun firing .45 ACP rounds. Designed for trench combat and close-quarters engagements, it combined heavy stopping power with a drum magazine for sustained fire. Crews managed its weight and recoil carefully, relying on precision under stressful conditions. Thompson M1928A1. The Thompson M1928A1, used by U.S. Navy and Marine units, featured a cut-down barrel and simplified sights for shipboard and amphibious operations. Its .45 ACP firepower remained formidable in close combat. Crews appreciated its reliability in salt air conditions and tight quarters, where accuracy and rate of fire were crucial. Thompson M1. The Thompson M1 was a simplified, lighter submachine gun designed for mass wartime production. Stripping unnecessary parts reduced weight and complexity without compromising the .45 ACP firepower. Soldiers valued its easier handling and faster maintenance, making it a reliable tool for infantry in Europe and the Pacific. Thompson M1A1. The Thompson M1A1 was a fully simplified, mass-production variant of the Thompson line, optimized for rapid manufacturing. It retained the .45 ACP cartridge and solid stopping power while eliminating the Blish lock. Crews relied on its ruggedness during prolonged engagements, trusting its consistent performance in diverse combat environments. Reising Model 50. Reising Model 50 was a lightweight .45 ACP submachine gun issued primarily to U.S. Marine units early in World War II. Designed for accuracy and controllability, it performed well in training. In harsh jungle combat, Marines experienced reliability challenges, shaping frontline opinions and future procurement decisions. Reising Model 55. The Reising Model 55 was a compact, folding stock submachine gun developed for airborne troops and armored crews. Chambered in .45 ACP, it prioritized portability over sustained fire. Soldiers valued its lighter weight, though battlefield conditions exposed mechanical sensitivities during extended combat use. Moving on to wartime mass-production submachine guns. M3 submachine gun. The M3 submachine gun, nicknamed the grease gun, was developed to replace the costly Thompson with a cheaper, faster-produced design. Chambered in .45 ACP, it emphasized simplicity and stamped construction. Soldiers found it crude but effective, especially in armored units and close-range fighting. M3A1 submachine gun. The M3A1 was an improved version of the original grease gun, eliminating the cocking handle to reduce mechanical failure. Chambered in .45 ACP, it simplified training and maintenance. Crews appreciated its greater reliability in mud and dust, especially during prolonged frontline operations. Thompson Experimental Simplified Models. Thompson Experimental Simplified Models were wartime prototypes created to reduce cost, weight, and machining time. These designs tested stamped components and simplified internals while retaining .45 ACP firepower. Soldiers involved in trials reported mixed handling, but their feedback directly influenced later mass-production submachine gun designs. M3 Suppressed Variant. The M3 Suppressed Variant was an experimental adaptation of the grease gun, developed for covert operations. Fitted with an integral suppressor, it reduced muzzle blast and sound signature. Operatives valued its discretion during close-range missions, where silence and reliability directly affected survival and mission success. Continuing with experimental and limited-issue submachine guns. Hyde M2. The Hyde M2 was an experimental American submachine gun developed as a potential low-cost alternative to the Thompson. Chambered in .45 ACP, it featured a simple blowback system. Test crews noted controllable fire but questioned durability, leading to limited interest beyond experimental trials. Hyde M3. The Hyde M3 was an improved prototype submachine gun developed to refine shortcomings of earlier Hyde designs. Chambered in .45 ACP, it focused on better balance and simplified internals. Test crews experienced improved controllability, but persistent reliability concerns prevented large-scale adoption during wartime production pressures. United Defense SMG prototype. The United Defense SMG prototype was an experimental American submachine gun developed to compete with existing wartime designs. Chambered in .45 ACP, it emphasized stamped construction and simplified mechanics. Test crews evaluated its handling and recoil, but it remained a developmental project rather than a frontline weapon. Thompson T2. The Thompson T2 was a lightweight experimental submachine gun developed to modernize the heavy Thompson lineage. Chambered in .45 ACP, it used simplified construction and reduced machining. Test personnel found it easier to handle, but wartime priorities and existing production lines prevented full adoption. Johnson Model 1941 submachine gun. The Johnson Model 1941 submachine gun was an experimental American automatic weapon using a recoil-operated system rather than simple blowback. Designed for controllable automatic fire, it fired .45 ACP rounds. Test users noted smooth recoil characteristics, but mechanical complexity limited its wartime adoption. Now turning to foreign submachine guns used by U.S. forces. Lanchester submachine gun. The Lanchester submachine gun was a British design used in limited numbers by U.S. Navy personnel for guard and shipboard duties. Chambered in 9 by 19 mm, it emphasized stability and accuracy. Sailors found it heavy but controllable, well suited for confined maritime environments. Sten Mk2. Sten Mk2 was a British submachine gun employed by U.S. OSS operatives and select ranger units for special operations. Chambered in 9 by 19 mm, it emphasized extreme simplicity and concealment. American users accepted its crude finish, valuing lightweight and silence potential during covert missions. Sten MKV. Sten MKV was a refined British submachine gun adopted by U.S. Special Operations units for clandestine warfare. Featuring improved sights and a wooden stock, it offered better control than earlier variants. Operatives valued its balance during raids, where reliability, portability, and familiarity determined mission success. MP40. The MP40 was a German submachine gun occasionally used by U.S. troops after battlefield capture, particularly during close-quarters fighting. Chambered in 9 by 19 mm, it offered controllable automatic fire. American soldiers used it situationally, valuing familiarity with enemy weapons during chaotic engagements. Beretta M 1938. The Beretta M 1938 was an Italian 9 by 19 mm submachine gun issued in small numbers to U.S. OSS operatives. Lightweight and accurate, it excelled in covert raids and partisan operations. Agents appreciated its smooth blowback operation and compact design, which allowed discreet movement in urban and occupied territories. Let's move on to airborne, special forces and suppressed submachine guns. M3 with suppressor. The suppressed M3 submachine gun was developed for OSS missions requiring stealth at close range. Chambered in .45 ACP, it reduced muzzle blast and firing noise significantly. Operatives trained extensively with it, understanding that concealment, discipline, and precise shot placement often determined mission survival. Delisle-influenced suppressed tests. Delisle-influenced suppressed tests were American experimental efforts inspired by British suppressed weapon concepts. Designed to evaluate extreme sound reduction for covert missions, these prototypes prioritized silence over sustained fire. Test operatives focused on handling and concealment, recognizing that quiet operation could decide mission outcomes. Thompson with Cuts compensator. The Thompson fitted with the Cuts compensator was intended to improve control during automatic fire in close-quarters combat. Chambered in .45 ACP, it reduced muzzle climb during bursts. Soldiers noticed steadier handling in urban fighting, where controlled fire directly affected accuracy and survivability. Thompson paratrooper modifications. Thompson paratrooper modifications were field adaptations made for U.S. airborne troops operating from aircraft. Shortened stocks and simplified fittings improved handling during jumps and rapid assembly after landing. Paratroopers valued immediate firepower on drop zones, where seconds mattered and close-range engagements began instantly. Next in line late war adaptations and legacy. M3A1. The late war M3A1 represented the final refinement of the grease gun concept. Simplified internals, a reinforced bolt, and removal of fragile components improved battlefield durability. Crews operating armored vehicles favored it for compactness, trusting its dependable automatic fire during sudden, close-range encounters. Thompson late production models. Late production Thompson models reflected wartime pressure to simplify manufacturing while retaining combat effectiveness. Machining was reduced, finishes were rougher, and components standardized. Soldiers noticed fewer refinements but identical stopping power, relying on these guns during house-to-house fighting where durability mattered more than appearance. Training and guard unit submachine guns. Training and guard unit submachine guns were standard U.S. SMGs reassigned for base security, training camps, and rear area protection. These weapons emphasized familiarity and discipline over frontline combat. Guards and trainees used them to master handling, maintenance, and automatic fire control under controlled conditions. Post-war transitional use submachine guns. Post-war transitional use submachine guns were World War II-era U.S. SMGs retained immediately after 1945 for occupation duties and reserve forces. Their proven reliability made replacement unnecessary. Soldiers continued training with them, bridging wartime experience and emerging Cold War small arms doctrine. Reserve and depot submachine guns. Reserve and depot submachine guns were wartime U.S. SMGs held in storage for emergency mobilization. Maintained and periodically inspected, they represented a ready fallback force. Armorers and guards interacted with them more than frontline troops, ensuring functionality if national defense demands suddenly returned. Final wartime configuration submachine guns. Final wartime configuration submachine guns represented the most refined U.S. SMG forms by 1945. Emphasizing simplicity, durability, and ease of training, they reflected hard-learned combat lessons. Soldiers trusted these weapons implicitly, knowing close-quarter survival often depended on immediate, reliable automatic fire.